Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. All right, it has been a wild year and a half, and I'm seeing a lot of people and hearing from a lot of people asking the question, is it the right time to buy a house? Is it the wrong time to buy a house? Is it a good time to sell? Should we stay? The housing market is just absolutely insane. So here's my overarching umbrella piece of advice whenever it comes to home buying or home selling. Your financial position matters more than what the housing market is doing, okay? So for example, if you think that it's a great time to sell because houses are selling at top dollar and people are throwing in cash offers and you could get crazy money for your house and you're like, we should probably sell, well, then that means you're probably gonna have to go buy another home that's gonna be top dollar as well, right? So it kind of ends up being a moo point, as Joey from Friends would say. And home supply right now is really low because houses are going so quickly. So here's some things to think about when it comes to home buying and selling in 2021. Are you out of debt? It's a big question to ask, okay? So I want you completely debt-free, except if you currently have a mortgage because you're in a home, but completely out of consumer debt. Do you have a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved in the bank aside? Do you have 10 to 20% down with cash to put for your down payments? These are big questions to ask because those are my qualifiers to say, are you ready to buy a home? Because listen, I understand home buying, it's exciting, it's fun. You're like, oh, maybe you're moving to a new city or maybe you just got married and you guys want to plant roots somewhere and you get all excited. But when you have debt and you don't have any savings, you don't have cash on hand and you put down nothing, it ends up being a really bad financial deal because you will realize that when you own a home, it's very, very expensive. Yeah, it's almost like the cheapest day is there at the closing table, right? Then it feels like it goes downhill. I mean, even 2 weeks ago, we had water in our crawl space and we had to go get a pump and pump it out. And then we had to pay someone to come in and help dry. It was a mess. But that's what happens. When you own a home, you're in charge of all of that. There's not a landlord, say you're renting, that's gonna help you with any of those costs. So it's just very, very expensive and things do go wrong in houses. So if you're not at this place yet, just remember to be content, okay? I want you to move through the process financially to be in a place where you're controlling your money, that you have a solid financial foundation before you go and make a big move like purchasing a home. And that journey of, making money and being smart with it, sometimes it doesn't mean just chasing the next thing over and over. Sometimes it's about just being content, working hard, and just working the plan. Now, we don't tell everyone that you should sell your house to get out of debt. But I find on this journey when people are paying off debt that sometimes they will sell their house and go rent somewhere for a little bit and use that equity to pay down debt. And usually that happens when they have too much house. So if half of your income is going to your rent or your mortgage, you're in a really hard spot to get ahead financially. It means you probably have too much house. Now, let's say you're moving cities due to a job. Then we have a video all about relocation because relocating is a big deal. So I'm gonna put that video in the show notes because you wanna watch that to figure out what's the wisest move for you this year if you're relocating and what to do in this housing market. Now, if you're out of baby step 3 and you have your down payment and you're ready to go, but you can't find what you want still in your price range, that's okay. Take a deep breath. You're not in a hurry. Do not rush one of the largest purchases or probably the largest purchase you will ever make in your life, okay? Home buying does not need to be an urgent thing. Take your time because listen, it is crazy right now. And if you're forced to do something, that is one thing I learned from my dad growing up. When you have no options, you make bad decisions. So you wanna be able to step back, say, okay, let's look at different options. And usually you can make such a wise decision when you have multiple options. So just take a breath. Maybe some of you are considering building. So this can be a pricier option depending on what's going on. Currently, as I'm filming this, lumber is up an insane amount right now. So it could be really expensive to build. Or if you wanna, maybe do some things around your house, some upgrades and renovations, it might be really expensive. So maybe you say, hey, we're gonna just hold off on that. But the key is here, no matter what, you want to stick to your budget and not get caught up on all the things going around, especially when you're building. It's so easy to be like, oh yeah, we'll upgrade this and upgrade that, da, 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 da. And then it comes and you see the price, you're like, oh, that was over our budget. So be very, very intentional. It's so easy to do. I remember Winston and I, when we built a few years ago, that was our thing. There was things we had to look back at the final budget and I was like, okay, we got to cut some things. And it hurts because you don't want to say no sometimes, but you're like, we gotta stick in the budget, and that's what you gotta do. Now, if you're really wanting to make the best decision for you and your family when it comes to home buying, then check out our Ramsey Home Buyer's Guide. So this guide is completely free, and it's gonna help you find a home that you can love and afford. So I'm gonna drop that link in the show notes for you. So all this to say, you guys, home buying right now in 2021, it's a little insane, and probably depending on where you live, but I feel like mostly everywhere across the country, it's crazy right now. So take your time and just be in a good financial position. That's the biggest thing. This is a purchase that I want you to be in for at least 5 years. And I don't want you to make a rash decision and do something that you regret and then wrecks you financially. So be wise, have patience, be content, and you can do it because home ownership is awesome. And that is a goal I want for you. So I think it's an amazing thing, not just financially, but also with your family. It feels good to put down roots and to do something permanent. So I love home buying, I love real estate, but I want you to be smart when it comes to that. And as always, make sure you take control of your money and create a life you love.